And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 432. So I hope you guys had a great day and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, we have one topic for you guys tonight for this episode of the MSK show, and that is going to be on Warner Brothers Discovery eyes renewed discussions with Paramount. So that will be our main topic tonight. And a lot of you guys have to know this, and this is the same thing I said about the Kathleen Kennedy topic. The only way I do a follow-up video is if there's new information that comes out that actually changes the landscape of what actually happens. It's like you guys would have never caught me making like Kathleen Kennedy is going to leave Lucasfilm videos like every week. That would just be ridiculous. It's like when people say comics are dying, and to be fair, to a certain extent, they are kind of dying off. But it's not actually happening. It's one of those things where people kind of over exaggerate a lot of things, and then kind of never understand. Hey, it's just in a decline. It's not actually going to die. Like something that would die. I don't know. An example would be like fucking hell. Sports trading cards. That market actually died. It
was pretty bad.
Yeah, and it completely crashed, and it was nothing after that, right? Comic books are not actually in that sort of space yet, but it just depends on which companies you're talking about. I mean, Dynamite, you know who Dynamite is, they actually I think one of their spokespersons for their company gave an interview with Bleeding Cool like last year, and they said they can't even make payroll on some months now that Diamond distributor is gone. So just want to let people know, don't over exaggerate, but also don't under exaggerate either. Like, don't be one of those people that say, well, it hasn't happened yet, so it means it's not going to happen. It's like, come on, guys, that's not how life works. Like the Roman Empire didn't fall in a day. It fell over the course of months and years, actually. People think just because it doesn't happen all at once and it's not actually slowly happening, it's like, guys, how stupid are you? Like, I swear some people are straight up kids. Like, unless somebody actually just, like, they'll see the tail end of their parents' divorce and they're like, oh, well, it just happened all of a sudden. It's like, no, that was something that was happening for months on end. You just didn't notice, actually. That's how that works.
Yeah, people can be very reactionary. All that Kathleen Kennedy stuff. When I first got onto YouTube, just started watching videos, there was one account, I'm not going to name him because he's kind of a hack. All the time, he kept saying, Kathleen Kennedy is getting fired. She's getting fired. And we heard she's on the way out. And I was like, wow, really? And I believed it for about 2 weeks. And then there was like 8 videos in a row where it was the same thing. Then I discovered other YouTubers are basically saying, no, that's really not happening. And
did this person's name happen to rhyme with big cock?
No, actually it rhymed with Bike Nero.
God Lord. So I remember Doomcock was one of those guys that always talked about having sources. Now, I'm not saying people don't have their sources. And I want all people to also understand that discussions about all this shit is always happening in some way, shape, or form. So like if I had a source and this person said, hey, man, I'm hearing rumors that this X character from DC might be getting their own movie or show. Now, keep in mind, in that current moment in time, there could have been legitimate discussions about, was this a possibility? I mean, we know that Warner Brothers at the time before Discovery merged with them, there was actual discussions on doing a Batman Beyond Into the Spider-Verse animated movie. And the person that was actually going to animate the movie actually posted pictures about it on Twitter. He said, hey, I talked to Warner Brothers about doing a Batman Beyond animated movie like Into the Spider-Verse, because the Into the Spider-Verse movies with Miles Morales have been very good for a lot of people like myself. I like those movies a lot.
Yeah, I really liked them too.
Yeah, and what he showed was beautiful. And then he said what basically became a firm no became like sort of a maybe. It's like, see, these things are always being discussed, guys. It's just we don't know the fruition of what level they're being discussed. It's like, was it like a one-time thing? Was it a constant ongoing discussion? Was it like a discussion that happened like every couple of months? Like, we just don't know. It's just, and you never know. It's just one of those things. Like for us, when we're hearing about the news, these guys have already heard this news days before. They have to take time to write the articles up because they can get sued if they publish the wrong thing, actually.
Yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, you can get in a lot of trouble or you lose all your credibility. That's what's really going to hurt you as a journalist. If you come out with something, and then you just have egg on your face. I mean, you do make mistakes, and there are sometimes people give you bad information, but if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
continually do the same thing over and over again, no one's going to believe you. So you just gotta, really got to research. You're talking about how these things can come about. I learned a lot about like TV production and how things get going
Yeah,
by
me
listening to
too.
various YouTubers,
Yeah.
and they order scripts all the time for shows and movies.
Mhm.
People write scripts and nothing will happen, or they'll actually start it in place and they'll get storyboards drawn and you never hear of again. In
Mhm.
TV, there's a ton of pilots out there that
Yeah.
never aired. They actually filmed it. They hired actors, they got people in, and they just don't air. So,
Oh, dude, in TV,
uh,
like a lot of times there will be a lot of shows they pick up. I remember there was this one show on NBC. It was about this black guy in a wheelchair he was gonna come out of retirement because the premise was this black guy got paralyzed. He was in a wheelchair, who was previously a cop. He's gonna come out of retirement and start catching bad guys. Now, guys, that would make any sense. A paralyzed retired cop coming out of retirement to catch, it already sounds retarded.
yeah.
And this show, I think, had like 4 episodes and it got canceled. Like, guys, there's TV shows that have only ever went past like the pilot, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
it.
there's tons of them. I bet there's a YouTube channel or somewhere out there, a website where they just uploaded a whole bunch of failed pilots. I believe there was a Wonder Woman. I can't remember if they had ever got to a pilot or not. With oh, I can't think of her name. It's drawing a blank. She was in Agents of Shield. She was one of the agents, and they were her and the one guy were supposed to get a spinoff. She played Mockingbird and Bobby Morrison in Agents of Shield, and she was supposed to be Wonder Woman. And there's pictures of her out there of her in the costume, but I don't remember if that actually got a pilot or not.
Mhm.
But it was one of those,
You,
things that was going to happen and never did.
I remember when Agents of Shield first came on television. This is back when I still had cable television, back in like 2013. Yeah, it came out before Iron Man 3, actually.
Yeah,
And I watched, because people said season 1 got better. I watched it weekly up until episode 5 or 6, and I was like, this is absolutely terrible. I don't know if it got better. It might have. It
it
probably
did.
did.
I actually watched the whole series. I really enjoyed it. It got out there and it kind of got away from the MCU continuity, which made it
Mhm.
better. Just some time travel stuff. It tried to do some things, but I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was super great, but for a weekly watch and just kind of keeping that superhero mode, I enjoyed it. I don't think I'd ever go back and rewatch it, but I liked Phil Coulson, the character, and
Mhm.
Ming Na Wen. Hopefully I said her name right.
Yeah, Ming-Na Wen and
Yeah,
Chloe. I remember Ming-Na Wen, who
Chloe
never
Bennett.
ages. Chloe Bennett
Oh yeah,
was remember? Oh my God, talk about
yeah.
failed TV
It
show
was really,
pilots.
yeah, it was really good, and so I really liked the cast and everything. And I think they did a good job. I think they were hampered by trying to associate themselves too much with the MCU, and then when they got away from that, I just think they did some good stories. I just thought, like I said, that was a good show, but I don't
Mhm.
know if I'd go back and rewatch the whole thing again because
Didn't
I
Kevin
just don't have
Feige
time.
like blacklist that one lady who played Lady Sif in the Thor movies because she appeared on like an episode of Agents of Shield? Like that. That's what I heard. I was like,
Well, I don't know if that was it because she couldn't do the one Thor movie because she was in another show where she got tattoos. I'm trying to remember the name of that movie or that TV show, and she wasn't able to do. I think Thor was it Thor 2 or Thor Ragnarok.
mhm.
I can't remember now. Yeah, it was Thor Ragnarok. She was doing a TV series, but they might have gotten her mad about that because she didn't come back. But she did make a short appearance in Thor 4, which, if that movie went away, that'd be a lot better for humanity. But I was not a fan of that movie. But she lost her arm and they made a joke about it. And that was dumb. Anyway, we're
Yeah.
getting off topic from
Oh,
where
no,
we're
I know you're
supposed to
good.
be.
No, you're good. Because usually when it comes to the shows, we usually kind of, have a conversation
Yeah.
before the topic anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, tonight, I know people are going to be like, where's Bob? Bob is not here tonight because I have to get our message. I have no clue. Because he told me he wasn't going to be on, and I'm usually like, all right. Because people don't have to give me an answer. It's like, hey, if I'm not on, it's fine. But he is not here tonight because he needs to pick up his daughter today, which would be from work. So
Okay.
I think his daughter was gonna get off late enough to the point where he couldn't make the showtime. So yeah, so guys, Bob will be on
Okay.
next week. Actually, I was contemplating doing this. We'll still have topical shows like where we have the topics like this, but I'm thinking of doing something called Good Point, Bad Point. It's a show format that someone else uses. I'm trying to think about the best way to implement a show format like that, because it's hard to make good points up when I think it's all bad. I don't want to come off disingenuous. So it would be like, so an example would be MCU post Endgame, and then the show format would be like, let's say me, you, and Bob. We'd have to bring 2 good points and 2 bad points. Yeah.
Okay.
But
you
how
can
in
do
the
that
world
about
can I
movies
bring up
or
a good
shows.
point? But how many good points can we actually come up with? I would actually, I don't know, man. You know what? We're going to try that next week. We're going to try a new show format, no topics. We're going to go, okay, how about, because that'll be too many points. We'll do 1 good, 1 bad. So that'll be 6 total.
Yeah. Maybe we could do an individual movie or something like that. I thought about that as I'm developing my channel, and I keep bringing that up because I still don't have one, about doing a thing called Devil's Advocate, where you take I think Thor 4 Love and Thunder was just terrible. I didn't like the movie. I thought it was terrible. But where I actually go into it, maybe look at some positives about it, of why you might like the movie, and try to look at it more objectively. So it's kind of like what you're talking about, forcing yourself to find a good point or a bad point. Because maybe, like the movie Jaws, I think is a perfect movie, or near perfect. And I think there's one flaw in Jaws that I didn't like.
There was one flaw in me with Jaws too. I think as much as I love the ending of the movie, the boat ride, you could have chopped some minutes down on that and it wouldn't change anything. Like I feel like Steven Spielberg, and I get why it's that way, because it was really hard filming the mechanical shark and everything. Yeah. I feel like you shave off 10, 15 minutes of the ending when they're just out. How it's just that frame of them out to sea on the boat, and it's just that fade in and fade out effect. It's like, come on, guys. We can speed this up a little bit faster. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. The only thing in that movie that kind of bugged me was Quint. I really love the character of Quint. And there's a point in there when there's spoilers for a 50 or 51-year-old movie now. But Quint smashes the radio when they're trying to call for help. And I think he does that because he wants the reward. And if they come and rescue him, that he's going to get the reward. But he's the character who survives the Indianapolis, and he's stuck in the water with all these men and people die. I don't think a character like that would be that reckless and leave him and his shipmates stranded. I thought that was the one flaw in that movie about him that I didn't like. I think the shark should have, when he hit the boat, it fell and broke or something, would have been much better. So I think it takes him out of the character, because his whole thing when he makes a speech about the Indianapolis, like, was it 700 men go in and or 300 men go in, and he's in this life and death situation. I don't think he would risk the other 2 guys' lives, and that's the only thing I look at. And I don't hold the shark against him, because that was made in 1975. So it's like you got what you got. I try not to hold like special effects and things against shows and TV shows that were in a time when they did the best.
Technology was still kind of like in its infancy when it comes to filmmaking. Yeah. Like I have the same problem with like I think I had that as a problem, but then I realized that the character was kind of this way always anyway. It always weirdly bugged me in The Dark Knight because I love that movie, but the only real flaw I had with it is like, well, why did Two-Face kill that guy, and then he didn't kill the lady that brought Rachel to this place? Oh yeah. Oh, also Maggie Gyllenhaal is just not that good of an actress, but if the movie's giving me like 98% good, those are things I kind of like let slide. It's like, okay, that's a flaw, but it's not like one of those flaws that just knocks the whole film down. You know what I mean? It's just not that big of a deal for me. But then I have to understand, like, it's Two-Face. He's a lunatic. That's just what it is when you're dealing with multiple personalities in your kind of mindset that this person would actually be under. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what would a good point be. I would say this. Now I can't. I'm gonna have to really think about the good point. I can make a bunch of bad points. Imagine the show's just all bad points. It's like, but what good point could I bring up? I think they failed at everything since after Endgame was over. Like the MCU.
Oh, the MCU.
I genuinely think after all the hype they had and everything that happened leading up to Endgame, I genuinely think they made every bad decision possible. I don't think they actually made a good decision. Like, have they made a decent? That's why it's going to require me to actually really think about it. It's like maybe it has to be like maybe in an individual movie, maybe
That's what I'd have to look at, because as a direction for the franchise, I don't
Oh
think they
no.
made a lot of good decisions.
Mhm.
But I think as far as a movie goes, I love Guardians 3. I think it's a really entertaining movie. Had
Yeah.
some flaws with, got a little scattered, I think a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. And I also like the Spider-Man movie.
Oh, No
I
Way
always
Home.
forget No Way Home. I always get all this confused. I thought,
Mhm.
it was a cameo, or not cameo fest, but like fan service of the other Spider-Man. But I really enjoyed that. I'm trying to think other. And I'll be honest with you, the Marvels, a lot of people rip it, and I don't think it's really good. But it's a movie. It was quick, and I mean, I watched it once. I watched it again. I don't think it was terrible, terrible. I mean, I went through it. I could pick it apart, but I mean, Ant-Man 3 was awful. I thought Cat Brave New World was terrible. I thought Thor 4 Love and Thunder was terrible. So there's a lot of terrible. Eternals, I thought,
That
was
would be my
just
good
there.
point. That would be
Yeah.
my good point. Spider-Man No Way Home. And what other movie did I tell you guys in No Way? 'Cause I didn't see Guardians 3. The only movies I haven't seen was Guardians 3, Wakanda, Black Panther 2, and the Marvels. I've seen everything else. And I would say Deadpool, it's weird because I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine has like a good written story at all, but it does have a lot of aspects that I think the MCU of old, or fuck me. I'll say it this way. I think Thunderbolts is what more MCU movies should be based off
Yeah, I
what they're
thought that was good.
trying to do. And that was crazy. I had no expectation for that going in. I was like, I saw the trailers and I was like, you know what? This don't look like dog shit. It looks like it's gonna be at least solid. And I can
Yeah.
take just solid. Movies don't always have to be great to me. If it's just good B movie fun, I can always have a good time with those movies. Plot and premises are probably fucking wacky and loony, but as long as I'm having a good time with it, I think, yeah, that would be my. There we go. I found my good point. I found two. I'm digging in the trenches here for this one. Yeah. So we'll do. Actually, yeah. If we have enough time, we'll go over wait, too bad, too good. Damn, that's a lot of points. No, we'll do the initial 6, and if we have enough time, then we'll just do the rest. I will use Thunderbolt and then the bad points. Like, where do I start? Because when you say bad point, just we're like an episode of SpongeBob where it's just laundry list of things to do. It's like, well, I
Well,
don't
I
know
think
where to
when you
start.
if you have a lot of problems, I think you just have to go to the worst point that you can think of, because there's a few things that Thunderbolts I didn't like.
Oh, I
I
have my
thought,
A point. I got it now. It's gonna be a banger.
okay,
I'm already
oh, it's
envisioning my
spoiler
brain.
for next week then, because
Yeah,
there's a
I'm not.
well,
I
I'll
have a
just tell you a
banger.
bad point on that. When they got out of the tunnel, that whole thing just took way too long. Like when they're doing the back to back thing, and and they're making jokes. I don't mind the jokes as much, but that just like they spent way too much time dealing with that. I thought that should have been a lot quicker.
Mhm.
That whole scene. That was probably something. But if we do Thunderbolts, I'll have to think of another one, because I don't want to repeat myself next week. But that was
Oh no,
the
you're good. It
yeah,
any of the points can be interchangeable. I
yeah.
was going to use Thunderbolts because I think, despite that movie failing box office wise, I do think it proves that if you kind of make your MCU movies in the vein of this, I do feel like that could be a step in the right direction to getting people back to what they loved about the MCU in the past.
Yeah.
My bad point. No, I've talked about this bad point forever, but I'll be able to go a little bit more in depth with it. Kevin, how you doing, man? He says Paramount. Oh, I don't know yet. We'll have to go over that in a little bit. But I don't know if anything else happened. I mean, did you do anything for Valentine's Day?
When was that? Friday? I
Saturday,
don't even know.
I think.
Well, no. I hung out with a friend. I have a friend who's he has ALS,
Mhm.
and he's getting weaker, and people have to stay with him. So I hung out with him during the day, and we just watched the Olympics and stuff and hung out. And then I just came home, watched a movie, and just kind of watched some riff tracks and Mystery Science Theater. That's about it. I didn't have a date, and I narrowed it down to 2 reasons: my looks and my personality. That's why, that's why I did not have a date. But
Oh God. No, I mean, I told you guys this story yesterday when I was with Nathan on our other show, which was, my show of me getting all the hot ladies. No, I'm joking, guys. So yesterday when I had an MSK show episode with Nate, basically there was a girl, and it's like, you guys know when women don't listen, that is not just a red flag to me. That is it's a pet peeve of mine, and I hate it so much because women just don't listen. I'm telling her the day before, and the day it happens, this is not going to happen. I have to get this because she knows what happened, so she knows I don't have it. It's not that I'm not trying to do it, and then she's acting all Pikachu surprised faces and happen. I was like, it's like I'm not gonna feel bad for something you know that I know, and that you know that I will know. I forgot how that goes. Good Lord.
You know that I know that you know, but I wait. Go on.
And then she was like, go and find some identification. I was like, lady, no. First of all, when the security guard told me I couldn't be in the bar because I had my ID, I was like, dude, you're good. He's like, are you? I was like, dude, you're good. I don't like bars anyway. I'd rather go home and play some video games. He was like, for sure. But then he asked me, he was like, how do you know that girl? It's like, dated before? Like, he gave me this look of like, how did she get? Guys, come on. Aura Farmer, Riz Master, Top G, girls throw themselves at me. It's what happens when you're my age, I've always got that. Like, women are weird, dude. Like, a girl I was talking to, she got mad. She was like, oh no, I can tell she got jealous. I was like, this is not a girlfriend. I just met her. We had a great conversation. We've known of each other on Twitter for a long time at this point. We just took a picture. It was the Sasuke sisters, they do the stuff for the Rippaverse, and they were like the horror indie movie chicks. So one of the sisters came to the F&T meetup last year in Vegas, and we had a great conversation. She was gorgeous. Good Lord. She wanted to go back to my hotel room. Oh, I would have did it. But we took a picture. we took a picture, obviously, and I posted it. And she was like, man, who's this nice young woman you're hanging on to? It was like, that's just a internet friend, right? She was like, oh, I'm jealous. I'm like, jealous of me? I'm not even taken. What are you talking about? Fucking lunatics. You people are insane. Like, actually go outside and touch grass, please. People say, that's not real life. This lady lives in my city. It's a person that's to see me before. This isn't touching grass. This person is in real life, and they think this way. Absolutely insane. But
people do get jealous. I had a friend of mine. Oh man, this is so long ago. Back, this was in the early 90s. He had a woman tell him that they went out and they broke up, and then he started dating someone else, and she got really mad about it. And she literally told him, well, I don't want you, but I don't want anyone else to have you either. She goes, I know that's illogical. And the reason I know she said it is because they were in my apartment arguing about it while I was in my bedroom watching TV trying to ignore it. And I'm just actually, I was eavesdropping. I'm not going to lie. But she came over. We were watching a movie or something. I said, I'll just leave you guys alone. I went in my room and they're talking. And she's like, well, I don't want you, but I don't want anyone else to have you either. I know that doesn't make sense. And to me, I just. So I'm going to be honest.
I will be honest. That is probably the most truthful thing I've heard from a woman in forever. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Women are like that. To be fair, she's like a complete lunatic. At least that is truthful, though. Women, for some reason, after you break up with them, they get jealous if you post a picture with another girl, even if it's just like, hey, I met you. I thought you were cool. I just get your contact info. Nothing sexual happens. You just go your separate ways, and they just, that happens. You just know people, right? They get mad when you like other girls' pictures. It's like, dude, what is wrong with you? What is actually wrong with your brain? Like real stories.
I know guys like that too. I know a lot of guys like that too.
Oh my God. Guys are, dude. Okay. Can't say names, obviously, but a new guy that got hired, me and him are cool. He gives me rides home from work sometimes, like tonight. He ended up getting with a girl at work, which I told him probably should do that, but what do I know, guys, right? I don't know anything, apparently. Then her ex-boyfriend apparently stalked them all day.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently,
that's crazy.
And like literally drove to his house after she got there to his house and stood there for like 3 hours. What the I was like, guys, please understand this. I shit on women a lot because they deserve it. But you guys, please, if a girl leaves you under any circumstance, it's an old saying that I had when I was growing up, back in my day, obviously when I was younger and hotter and better looking. If someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
So if a girl, for any reason, one day goes, you know what? I thought you were really cool, but the next day I hate your guts. Just leave. You don't want friends like that. Friends that will one day, I don't know, love you, and then the next day you're just the worst thing ever. No. Any guy, listen to what I'm saying. Please. I know you guys always disagree. Please listen. It's not worth it. You literally can do anything with your time than pining over women. You guys keep talking how I got successful. How I got successful was not pining over women. What I did was I pretty much worked 6 days a week for 10 years straight. That's what I did. But, and it's a lot. And you do delay yourself gratification with a lot of stuff. I don't drink and I don't want to do any of that shit. You gotta get in the trenches, work, get money, and get something going. Worry about women later. And if it does happen in between any of that, don't let it consume your brain to the point where you can't. I would never sit outside someone's house waiting for a girl to come out for 8 hours. That's ridiculous. You have nothing better to do with your life.
That's mental illness because you're doing that. That's not healthy. That's
fucking insane. Like, and keep in mind, I will be fair to women here. Why would a girl want, even if she did lower her standards to be with you? What do you have? Like, keep in mind, some of you guys don't even have jobs. First step to getting a girl, forget women. Get a job first because you need money.
Get girls yourself established.
Get some money. Because guys, who's like, oh, why don't girls like me? Do you have a job? No. That's step one. Get a job first. Actually, focus on. It's a saying I had back in my day, dude. Getting your ducks in a row. Get a job first. Get actual money. Because even if you did get a girl, how would you get her? If you guys went out for food, who'd pay for it? Her? She pays for that. She's gonna let you always hear the end of that. I'll let you tell you guys right now, girls that pay for me always let me know they paid for me. I'm like, fuck you. Good Lord. Goddamn.
I've actually known quite a few women who've dated guys without jobs. I don't know how they got away with it, but you know. And these women are good looking. I was like, you could have almost any guy you want.
They lowered their standards. They lowered their standards for sure.
He's got abs and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, you put up a dude who won't, they don't have a job, and they keep telling, "Oh, I'm going to get this great job someday," and they believe them. I don't know. I don't know. People are weird though, because like I said, I've had guy friends who are just nuts and all. Like, I had this one friend back when I worked way back when I was in my Domino's days when I was about 19, and we would close, and then we go out to eat afterwards. With, a few of the guys that worked or whatever, or ladies, or would close that night. And we would drive together, me and him, and we had to drive past this lady's house because he liked it. And it's like 2 a.m. Like, she's sleeping. Why do you even drive by her house? You used to drive me nuts. He's like, well, I just want to, blah, blah, whatever. And I was just like, dude, she doesn't want to be with you. She doesn't want to be with you. And he, I think she likes me, but I know, and all these excuses. And I remember this restaurant. We used to have to go, and he'd take the side streets to get over to this busy street that took us. I'm like, why don't we just take the major road? Well, I want to go make sure she's okay. Well, what do you mean she's okay? I don't sleep. And that was, I don't know. And then like a month after all that, he was perfectly fine and had a new girl he liked. But people, I don't know. I think some of it's insecurity. Some of it is, people just have hard making decisions, so they don't want to let go, or they don't want to look for somebody else. I don't know. It's so weird. People are just. But I'm like that with comic books. So I have comic books. I'm like, should I get rid of this? I don't know. I haven't read it. Don't really want any. But
yeah, for me, for comic books recently, I told people this. My fingerprints got on some of them. So for the DC All-In #1, where it's like the creation of the absolute universe and shit, sometimes I will only buy a second printing of a book if I know I kind of fingerprinted it up a little bit. Absolute Batman #1, it's still pretty much 99% good. But I know for that DC All-In #1 book and that Batman #1, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should wash my hands before I read some comic books, actually.
Yeah, you don't want to dirty those up.
Yeah, what's crazy is I could still sell those for like $50. I'm like, you want my fingerprinted? I don't care. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It's like, people are weird. But I will only ever buy a second printing of a book if I know I kind of fingerprinted it up too bad. So I know I did it for Absolute Martian Manhunter. I might do it for Batman #1. I might do it. That seems like a pretty good investment to get another first printing of that. Yeah, because keep in mind when it comes to comic books, because people always ask how do you remember that stuff. I have a pretty good memory because like I try to if I'm reading a comic book or I'm watching a movie or I'm watching a TV show, I make sure my brain is laser focused. That's why a lot of people miss details and why they create these like weird myths about movies because they're not actually paying attention. If you like actually pay attention, some of the stuff you guys say or like you didn't know, it's right there. You just just not paying attention. Honestly, it's literally what it is. Honestly,
Yeah, you gotta like movies now. It depends how tired I am. I'll watch a movie like sometimes if I really want to pay attention, I got to be ready, and if not, I'll just watch something else. You know, there was a movie Alan Ing from Film Threat recommended. It was called First Time Caller. It was an indie film, and it's on Tubi, and I watched it.
Mhm.
And I really wanted to pay attention. So, I paid a lot of attention to it. And, I was watching it. I was like, oh, okay. And then tonight, waiting to start the show, I watched an old sci-fi show from the 70s called Planet Earth. It was done by Gene Roddenberry. It was about an hour and 20-minute movie, I think. And it was, it was okay, decent effects, this story, but it wasn't that great. And I didn't have to pay that close attention.
Mhm.
I mean, I remember it, but I wasn't like laser focused. But when I watched this First Time Caller, it was really intriguing. And the way they did it was this guy was a internet radio host basically, and he'd take calls, and this guy called in and he could predict when natural disasters were going to happen. And it's kind of funny because he's like when they used to say shock jock when they're on the radio, but he'd always say this, he'd get these callers on and rev them up and stuff. And this guy called in, he was kind of dorky, talking about a woman he liked. And then all of a sudden he said, oh, by the way, in Seattle, a whole bunch of people are going to die. And he's like, what are you talking about? He said, and he looks it up, and all of a sudden it happens. And then it happens again, and he keeps predicting this stuff. And it's a really good movie. I recommend to watch it. I'm not going to spoil it. But I really paid attention because Alan Ing from Film Threat, I don't know if you know who he is. I watched their
Asian guy?
video. Yeah, him and
I met him before. I met him before.
He's a real. I think I've never met him. I think he seems like a really nice guy. And then Chris Gore, who was also on there. I watch all their shows on YouTube, and they do one where they review movies and stuff. So when they recommend a movie, I usually try to watch it. And he recommended that I saw that posted on Twitter, or X. So I ended up watching. It was really good, but I didn't pay attention to that. But then, like I said, tonight while I was waiting for you, I was just kind of relaxing. A long day at work. I just watched this older movie and said, I wouldn't be able to break that down, but I wasn't as invested. But like you said, you're laser focused. But me, I'm laser focused sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, just like when I'm watching like Bob's Burgers or something. I'm just enjoying it. Just watching it. I'm not. But
that shows, like, I would say the feelings of the show. Whenever I watched it, I felt like it wanted me to get high and start pulling out a grill and making burgers for some reason. That show gave me that feeling. Like I should pull out a grill and just start getting high. And then just put meat on a grill. What the fuck?
I really like the show. What I like about that show is, I know we're doing more stream of consciousness, but I like it because the family gets along. They love each other. It's good relationships, and it's funny, and the kids are snarky, but they, it's just, I don't know. I just enjoy that kind of dynamic. It kind of bugs me a lot of times when you see shows now and, the mom and dad don't get along, or they're divorced, the kids are really super annoying and they're disrespectful. And, disrespectful can be funny, like sometimes the way they're snarky and stuff. But I like the family dynamic, and then the jokes. I mean, it's been on like, I think 11, 12 years now. So it's getting a little long in the tooth, but it's still, it's okay to watch. Some of the earlier stuff's funnier, but it's got some heart too. They did a really good Valentine's episode a few years ago where the oldest daughter, Gina, gets or Tina, I'm sorry, she finally gets to have a kiss with the boy she liked, and Gene, the middle boy, he falls in love with the school nurse, and the youngest one, Louise, she ends up kissing Rudy, regular size Rudy. After she kisses him, she smacks him in the face. It's really funny. I know, I love that. And so I don't know. It's just stuff like that has some heart, and I like those shows. But again, that's a show I can just turn my brain off and watch, and I don't have to, really pay attention. Because sometimes I work, and then I do some other things, and I'm busy all day. I don't want to think about stuff. Maybe
Good
that's what I
Lord.
watched. Maybe that's why I kind of didn't mind the Marvels, because I was just tuning it out.
Actually, as you guys know, I would normally make a video out of this, but I don't know how serious of a situation that this might actually be. So we're gonna go over this actually, but it's not gonna be like a usual video where I do like the intro and the outro. This is just us gonna be just giving our opinion. Okay. So long story short, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Netflix are going to be, you know what? Fuck it. Nope. Fuck what I just said. My brain has to do video. Good Lord. I hate Warner Brothers. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why is this even a thing? Why can't this just be a done deal? I feel like we're going to be talking about this for 20 years, apparently. It's okay, guys. It's okay.
Possibly.
Who's Mac? My name is Big Daddy Top G.
Replace group.
Gr- What's
Another
the name
man.
of it? Both white. What in the
White.
world?
I am very pasty white, by the way. I am super white.
Garatina, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? All right, so let's get into this. Hey, everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you've not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about Warner Brothers Discovery eyes renewed discussions with Paramount. So essentially, if you have not been following this story, go and check out the previous videos that we've did on the channel covering this Warner Brothers Discovery sales drama, or check out the MSK show episodes with the titles of Warner Brothers Discovery X Netflix, and those will pretty much bring you all the way up to speed with what's been currently on. But for those of you guys who want the short TLDR, essentially, Warner Brothers Discovery is eyeing potentially a sale to another company, or the company would have just gotten split off into two separate companies. So the second point I'm going to elaborate on first, which is essentially this. Then why did you ever merge to begin with? If another backup plan was to separate anyway, why merge together with another company? Because if you guys don't actually know this, Discovery, under David Zaslav, was financially doing very, very well. Actually, Discovery is probably, if not one of the most profitable, lucrative cable networks still on TV currently. So it made no logical sense why they ever would want to be merged with Warner Brothers, a company that was known for having tons of debt. We're talking like billions of debt. We're talking like if you essentially had like 10 credit cards and never paid them off ever, and that's the amount of debt you would get from buying Warner Brothers. So it made no sense anyway, given how Discovery on the books was profitable and how Warner Brothers was not. Maybe they were thinking, hey, we have David Zaslav. He made our company this profitable. Now, if we lead this company, we can do the same. Guys, that didn't happen. AT&T couldn't make Warner Brothers profitable. So, and they sold off very, very quick, actually. I was like, what, 2 years they had them anyway? So Warner Brothers entertained buyers. Obviously, we have Comcast. Obviously, we had Netflix. We have Paramount in there as well. And it came down to basically Warner Brothers pretty much saying through a lot of sources, through articles like Variety, THR, Deadline, Comcast, Netflix, and Paramount. That's it. Those are the only three we have entertaining us right now. A lot of people thought Apple. A lot of people thought Amazon. Guys, Amazon's not buying Warner Brothers. They bought Twitch, and that wasted them a lot of money. You think they're going to buy Warner Brothers, which is another big waste of money? No. Apple, not interested. Let's just say Apple likes to make money. Warner Brothers likes to lose money. Not going to work with those companies, actually. Jeff Bezos, the guy that runs Amazon, and I forgot the current guy who's the CEO of Apple, they're about dollar signs and a lot of money. Warner Brothers, not so much, actually. So Netflix even announced on their website, we're entering in a new era. We're going to buy Warner Brothers. And then, there's been some issues with Paramount trying to re-up offers and stuff like that. There's been Netflix saying, hey, no, we're going to commit to the theatrical experience, and there's a lot of this going on. And keep in mind, I don't think either is really that good, honestly. Paramount's in a lot of debt too, guys. Keep in mind, guys, they had to merge with Skydance like last year. They themselves had to merge because they went and started doing Paramount Plus, and that, as you know, with streaming services, they cost a lot of money, and you go into a lot of debt to eventually have it be the end goal of like being profitable, which most streaming services aren't, minus what, Netflix, maybe debatably. Netflix. Who knows, right? Maybe just Netflix is the only one that's really doing good. Maybe Prime Video, but that's not really because of Prime Video. That's most because it's just, you get Prime Video because you get the free shipping on Amazon, and girls won't want me to buy them dildos all the time, so that's why I have Amazon Prime, but I'm joking, guys. So we get to this point, and it should be a done deal, but now apparently there's renewed discussions with Paramount. It's like, Warner Brothers is that girl that says, no, honey, I'm committed to you. Only you. You saw her post like pictures of her shaking her ass at a club. No, I'm committed to you, honey. I believe you. You know what? I'll believe you. Even though no guy should ever do that. I believe you. You know what? 2 weeks later, she's at the bar just throwing ass on some black guy named Tyrone. That's what
You're
this
very
is.
colorful
It's
with your
literally
analogies.
on Netflix's website. You can look at it right now. They announced they're going to be getting Warner Brothers, like new era of movies and TV and all this stuff. They put it on their Twitter feed. Why would, unless, because Netflix apparently was going to just offer them all cash. Paramount would be like equity and cash. And guys, equity is essentially, long story short, is like, be like some sort of like stock thing they would get. So like if Paramount wanted to sell, then they would get like, cut of that. It's a lot of different. So actually, a lot of these acquisitions, you get like equity and stuff. So like with Star Wars, when George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, he got a lot of cash. He did. But what was the other part of that deal made up a lot
Got a bunch
of
of stock.
And it was stock, right? They're like, you know what? We'll give you this much cash, this much stock, and stocks can be profitable way later on. So that's not a bad deal. That also hinges on Star Wars being good, but that's neither here nor there. Just to let you guys know what that kind of means. Like when you see these big company acquisitions, when you see equity and stock, that's not like, solid cash. That's like just, hey, this will be mutually beneficial to you if this is good. You know what I mean? So now we're at this point because we've had these hearings with the Supreme Court, because you have to testify that this is not a monopoly, even though it clearly is. Like, I don't know why they would have to entertain these things. You legally have to entertain these things, but it's like, no, we don't. Ted Sarandos is like, we don't have a monopoly on the market. This would give you a monopoly on the market. Guys,
Well, it might be close. Yeah. I don't know if you watched any of the congressional hearings, but that's all theater
I saw the
anyway.
one. I saw the one with Superman where he basically implied Superman did not do financially well at the box office. And like, to be fair, guys, anyone with a brain or eyes could have saw that. Yeah. I don't care if you like the movie. I don't give a flying fuck about that. A bunch of movies I like flopped. I can admit that. But just because I liked the movie doesn't automatically mean it was a success box office wise. Where does that even come from? Like, for some reason, someone averager thinks movie I like financially did beneficially well. We're talking to actually stupid people on this planet. Why do I have to inhabit this planet with you people anymore? Beyond me. God, are you punishing me? All right.
Well, people like to know movies that they like are profitable, because then they think, well, I like a movie that a lot of people like. So therefore, it validates my opinion. That's how some people think of it too, and I can see that. And if you like Superman, you want him to be popular and you want him to
makes sense. Yeah.
succeed. But I don't get, I'm upset that it didn't do that great because I don't know if they're going to continue. But I'm not living and dying on that either. I'm not saying, well, I'm so upset it didn't make $1 billion. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not going to pretend it was a success when it wasn't.
So I'll ask you, what is your general thought process of the Netflix Warner Brothers Discovery kind of potential merger, or the Paramount addition to that?
Well, Warner Brothers is got to be the worst run company in history. I mean, they have Harry Potter, I think Jurassic Park. They got the DC superheroes, and they're not making any money. Like, how do you not make money off of stuff like that? They make bad decisions. And then when they merge with WB and that, they got all the TV properties. I believe they own CNN as well, and they have TNT and TBS, and cable and network TV is hurting because the advertising dollars are going more to YouTube and things like that. But I think what ultimately I would prefer Paramount to have it, because I think they'll continue to run movies in the theater. And I think Netflix, for all they're saying, well, we'll do movies in the theater, I don't think that's going to last very long. I think Netflix is, if they get them, and if they do Batman movies and stuff, they're just going to go right to streaming, which might be better. But I want to see the theaters thrive. Mm-hmm. So, and then Netflix, I don't think wants to run a comic book company. So they might sell those properties off or lease them, have somebody run DC and produce their comics for them. I don't think they want to sell those characters. Like, a lot of people are saying, well, maybe Disney would buy, the DC lineup.
Right.
Well, I don't think Netflix wants to give up making Batman movies, because they'll make a lot of money.
Yeah,
they might, they might work out a deal with Marvel to combine the comics, which actually might be a pretty good idea, because they're doing these crossovers again now with Superman and Spider-Man and that, and they're going to be popular. So maybe that's a way to reignite some of the juice into the comic industry. But I think ultimately, too, if Netflix gets it, they're going to have to dissolve all the TV stuff. They don't want to run TV stations. So what's going to happen with that? Mm-hmm. But Paramount might continue that. And I think Paramount might be a better fit, because they do a lot of things that WB does now, where Netflix doesn't. But I think losing the competition overall is bad. I just wish Warner Brothers was strong. I wish Paramount was strong. I wish Netflix was strong. Apple and uh, Amazon Prime, those are kind of loss leaders for those companies. Now, Apple's making billions of dollars. I don't think they're making really anything off their streaming service.
Yeah, a lot of people don't actually get this though. The streaming services is okay. What's the best way I can point out to people? If you're a business, you invest your money into something else because, to be fair, if you don't invest that money, you're going to get taxed on that money, which is a lot of money. So you don't want to do that. So what the companies do is they make a streaming service. Now, the goal of a streaming service is that you invest money. So you do initially take a loss. The goal and hope is that it becomes profitable on its own so it can generate its own revenue and be successful on its own. Because, to be fair, if they didn't invest that money in that, they would the taxes you have to pay on this much money they make is gajillions, honestly. So it makes sense financially why you would make a streaming service, but that also has to generate your goal and hope is so it becomes profitable on its own. So I brought up the same thing with the comic books too. I think the comic books make almost essentially no money. My own personal opinion, I don't think Netflix would care. Only so with the fact that they would probably just treat it like a tax write-off, honestly. It's like two things would happen. They would think, okay, let's invest some money into this. But then again, because you have to reveal your financials to the person who's going to buy you. They would see the financial is so meaningless. It's like, yeah, we could get rid of it, but it is a tax write-off and it is good for some marketing. I think comics wouldn't even be on their discussion, honestly. I don't even think Disney goes into the Marvel Comics side of the company and goes, hey, you guys make us any money? I think they know makes them nothing.
Yeah, and I think that's what I think Netflix, if they end up getting it, would probably end up, like I said, they might just hire a company to run it and say, okay,
it might change leadership.
Might have Jim Lee just say, here, Jim, you're running it. You're just going to keep running it. Leave us alone. Here's your budget. Try to break even, whatever. I don't think they care too much about it. But I think, and what they're going to say is, if Netflix or Paramount has it, what they're going to say is, well, all right, what are we going to do with Batman? And I don't know if James Gunn survives a sellout to Netflix or Paramount, because so far his universe hasn't been that successful. I mean, Superman didn't do that well. They had the Creature Commandos wasn't very well viewed. Neither was Peacemaker. And then you got the Supergirl movie coming up, and you got Clayface coming up, and then you're going to have the Lanterns TV show. And if those don't do well, I think James Gunn's gone. If he might stick around if there's no sale, but if there's a sale, I think they're going to get rid of him.
Right.
He's not doing anything with these properties.
And that's the same thing that I said when they bought Netflix, because, well, Netflix contractually, if they were to buy Netflix, sorry guys, contractually, if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, they have to release movies with the theater contracts until 2029. And a lot of the stuff that would already be in place, because, Netflix said on their website and Twitter, they were like, well, we're going to keep Warner Brothers intact if we go through with this buyout. Well, guys, it's actually more cheaper to just leave the company as it is currently than after 2029 renegotiate all the contracts at a lower rate or higher rate if you want to keep that person, or just usher in your own people. Because a lot of people don't understand with mergers. The reason why when you get merged with a company, things stay the same for a little bit is because the person who just merged with you doesn't want to spend a whole lot of money trying to fix everything at once. Netflix, if they were to buy Warner Brothers at some point, will make it into their own image. You don't buy these companies to not make in your own image. Like Disney made Marvel into what they wanted Marvel to be, Star Wars and all that other stuff. Warner Brothers will look like whatever Netflix wants it to look like. It's just not going to be in anything in the immediate term. It's going to be a while before that happens. Paramount, I don't know, honestly. Like, I think the problem with Netflix is, if I'm looking at an outcome 5-10 years from now, what would be the worst company of the two to have them? Netflix is the worst streaming service for TV shows because they just make garbage and they cancel it unless it generates subscribers for their streaming service. But Netflix is very good with making money, right? So you have Paramount's not been good with making money, but Paramount is more committed to putting out movies theatrically. See, I think actually both of them have their pros and cons. But if you're going off of pure just greed, like what the shareholders and Warner Bros. Are probably doing, pure greed, Netflix is the better option because they do know how to generate money. I can't knock them for that. Paramount would be potentially good if you're talking about just strictly other factors. Because a lot of dumb comic book fans, they're like, well, are we going to get a TMNT Batman live action movie? All right, dude. There's better things to worry about than that. The James Gunn point you brought up is a good one because I said the same thing too. If Paramount got them, Paramount probably wouldn't keep James Gunn. That's why his contract is only extended to 2028?
I think it's 2028. If
2027, 2028, because it's like after Man of Tomorrow would come out, so it'd be like around then. So I think Warner Brothers is also knowing this too. James Gunn's future depends on who buys them. Now, Netflix could just keep James Gunn because they're, to be honest, politically, they probably think like him anyway. They probably like him to a certain extent. If you say the right things with these Hollywood people, you'll be in, right? So James Gunn fate also is determined on, like what you said too, is like, well, how good has this universe did? And by 2027,
we're gonna know a lot.
Yeah,
because they're gonna have 3-4 projects come out by then. Like I said, Supergirl, Clayface, Man of Tomorrow. They're gonna have Lanterns.
That Jimmy Olsen show, the mockumentary.
And aren't they supposed to do a second season of Creature Commandos? So, we're gonna know a lot. And if
actually
Supergirl,
after this year, you would say, right? Yeah. You have Supergirl, Lanterns, and Clayface. If these movies or shows don't generate any level of buzz or positive hype, it's like this is kind of circling the drain at this point. You know what I mean?
Clayface, I think, would be a little different because the budget's supposed to be lower. It's supposed to be a little more like horror almost. And it's not supposed to be, from what I hear, in the general continuity of like Batman. And so, that could be if it, I think if the budget's like 40 million and it makes, 120 million or 150 million and it makes them a few bucks, that won't be terrible. But a Supergirl is probably going to be a $200 million movie before marketing. And if that rolls out and does 350 at most, I mean, I can't see that movie beating Superman. And I mean, Lobo will be in it, and that'll kind of get some people excited. But is that really going to come out and do more than 500-600 million? I don't think so. I think that loses money. I mean, they'll probably say the budget's 180, and we just need to make 400 million to break even. But it'll probably be like 200 million plus reshoots. Another 125 million in budget in marketing. So you're looking at like a $300 million movie. They need to make at least 600 million to break even on.
Right.
And is that movie going to do well overseas? I mean, I don't know. Is it going to do well here? It's just, I don't know. And so when Netflix or Paramount gets it, I could just see them saying, all right, we need to redo this. And I could see Netflix ordering up a lot of shows for, streaming stuff because that's what they do. And I don't know how much is going to get in the theater.
I think Netflix would be, because the people that don't like the woke and DEI stuff, Netflix, it would definitely be the worst of the two to have that. Like completely, Netflix would be the absolute worst for that. And then not only would they just make the shows, they wouldn't get past. It would just be like a statement they're making. They know it's not going to get a second season. They know it's already canceled by making the one season. They're only doing it just so they could obviously make a statement to people. No, we are going to make DCU in our own image. And Paramount, I don't know, because like Paramount for me seems like the more ethical option if we're going off either of the two. But then again, I don't know if they can handle having Warner Brothers long term. Like they themselves haven't not been good with properties too. Because like, what people don't understand, Warner Brothers got into this position by making awful decisions year in and year out.
Oh yeah,
and now they have to be bailed out with like another company with more money. It's like like that. Like a few years ago, everyone started getting into like I don't know, like trading card collectibles. Remember that craze that happened like some years ago, waiting for all these people to give you all this money for this old stuff that you yourself probably know is overinflated. Like Warner Brothers got themselves into the situation. Because I know people are like, but they have all these different properties. But which one of those properties really has any like beside fans? I'm not saying all these properties don't have fans, but it's like word of mouth on a lot of these is very bad. Like on surface level, yes, they have a lot of stuff. They have a great library of stuff. Like Harry Potter doesn't really have good word of mouth currently. It kind of doesn't. DC word of mouth is not that good. Lord of the Rings word of mouth is not that good based on what they're doing. So they themselves tank their own company. No one else made them do it but themselves. Remember they gave J.J. Abrams $100 million to do content for the DCEU back in the day. And guess what he gave them, guys? This much influence as my dad had in my life. Nothing.
Yeah, I want to give J.J. Abrams $50 to do anything.
$100 million here.
Well, they make terrible decisions. Like
that's more than a terrible decision. That's like one of those, like, hey, honey, I accidentally let the dog out and he kind of shitted in like the grass in our fence area. That's like a colossal waste of money. Good Lord.
And Paramount, I don't know. They made all this new Star Trek, which is terrible. They just don't know what they're doing on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I think there's this big trend. They want to make these huge changes in entertainment. They come out with these TV shows like they did that Masters of the Universe, Kevin Smith, and what'd they do? He-Man wasn't the lead. It was his Tila was the lead. And it was like, why? And so they make these changes. The Peacock has The Burbs, which is I haven't watched it, but instead of having a man in it, it's now a woman, and who knows? I mean, it could be good, it could be bad. I don't know. So I think all these decisions are made, and they got the new Lara Croft movie coming out, and that movie's going to bomb. Like I guarantee it's going to bomb because what's her name? The one who did the latest Indiana Jones movie. Oh man, I'm so bad.
The lady. It's her name.
Yeah, she's directing it, and it's they already came out with Sophie Turner saying, well, she's not going to be sexy and she's going to be strong, and it's like, well, Lara Croft has always been a strong character in the movie she did with Angelina Jolie, and then the video games. She's always been strong. She's always been capable, and she's been sexy. But they're going to remove all the sexiness. No one's going to see it. Everyone's going to rip on it. It's going to do bad. Then they're just going to blame the guys for not going to see it. When they take away a key element, and whether you like it or not, sex sells. Sexiness sells. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it is. And if you want guys to do these properties, they have to be masculine kind of stories, and you have to have good looking people, and we're good looking women. It's just the way it is. Now you can do good things without that, but if you have a character like Lara Croft, I remember when Lara Croft first came out, and she was real boxy and digital, but everybody just talked about her chest. It was like, and she had small shorts on, and if you look at it, it was embarrassingly bad graphics, but that's all anyone talked about. And and then when Angelina Jolie did the movie, she looked great in it. She's a gorgeous woman, and she looked great. And now they're going to do it, and they teased her with the original costume, and then all the new releases, she's all covered up from head to toe, and and it's just people aren't going to see it. And I'll probably see it anyway because I kind of like the old Angelina Jolie movies, so I'll probably see it. But I don't know. I think these companies, they lost connection with the audience.
And it's also this other notion of both Netflix and Paramount. You bring up Amazon too. Amazon's the same. Even if Amazon were entertaining this, Amazon would be a horrible company to buy them. Like, what people understand this though. Netflix and Amazon make so much money. You tell them the comic book side of your company makes, I'm just making this up, I don't have any inside information on this, $2 million a year. You know what the executive would do? He would laugh at you. And not laugh at you. He'd do the J. Jonah Jameson laugh that he did to Peter Parker when he asked him for an advance in Spider-Man 2. That's what he would do to you. Wait, you make $2 million? I'm used to making $50 million. Yep. He would go like, what the fuck? But I will say, for us TV, just TV shows, I've heard Paramount Plus makes better TV shows than Netflix does. But guys, Netflix has really never made good TV shows. It's like how many that their originals are people really enjoy. Like what Orange is the New Black is probably the best one they've made. That was their own. And even that is like, you guys ever watched that?
Well, Paramount was it Sheridan, the guy who made he made Landman, but he also made the Kevin Costner man. Oh my god, getting old stinks. I can't remember anything anymore.
You also brought up He-Man earlier too. Like, was Netflix the best to make Master of the Universe? Guys, that was panned by people.
Oh, yeah, them touching
DC. Yeah, that was and it was animated as it should have been.
Well, then
People
they came
hated
out
it.
with that War of the Rohirrim. It was on HBO.
Yeah, Water the Rahanum. What is
And
it called? Yeah.
instead of having, the king, they have this unnamed daughter from the book. And the creator says, well, I read the story and it brings up the daughter and I want to know her story. Well, Tolkien didn't give her a story. He didn't give her a name. So they create this whole story and what happens? The king gets killed. She takes over. She's the best horseback rider. She's the best fighter. She's the leader. And, uh, and of course her dad has to say, she's like, Father, they need you. And he was like, no, they need you. And even though she's a princess, somehow she's like super tough and everything. And it was so bad. And it's just so obvious that they're like, well, we just want to have a strong woman, which you can have strong women. There's tons of strong women, but they got to diminish the male characters. And you have this character that didn't even have a name in the book, and you create this whole story, which might not have been a bad idea, but you take everything away from the king, you give it to her, and then they have to make a point because she was supposed to get married. And the end of the movie is, and she never got married. Like somehow marriage is bad in these people's eyes now. And it's like, well, when guys watch movies, they don't mind when characters get married. Well, a lot of women don't mind when characters get married. But for some reason now, women, and if you notice too, women don't kiss guys a lot in movies anymore. I saw the movie Twisters, and in the end of the movie, the two leads, instead of kissing, they just hug and like touch foreheads or something. It's like every other movie set, made before 2019, they would have kissed. And he's a great looking guy. She's a great looking woman. They're in love. They're falling in love. They would have kissed. Not in this. They just hug. And I think they think, well, this takes away from her agency. And if they continue to do that, they're going to tell stories nobody wants to see. Because we talked about this last week. Women are not flocking to these movies. You're making Barbie, they made for women. Women flocked to Barbie.
Showed up. Yeah. Oh,
And
you used the
men showed up
Marvels
too, but yeah.
The Marvels. Apparently, it was men's fault that I don't know.
Yeah.
The Marvels failed. I heard that was made for women. I was told that's not made for me. Awesome. Yeah. I will not be watching. Oh, look, it flopped. But I will also say this about Warner Brothers with like, how would I say recently? I mean, yes, you have 2025, which was kind of good for them box office wise.
Yeah, that's Sinners and
Minecraft
and Minecraft. Oh, Minecraft was huge.
Minecraft made more than Superman did.
Minecraft made like almost $1 billion.
The amount of money that Minecraft made is the amount of money they wanted Superman to make. Hey, come on. Yeah. Minecraft almost made $1 billion, and all of you called it a success, even though most of you blatantly said, I thought it was bad. Huh. So why would Superman making $300 million less than that mean it was... You people are retarded. The fact that I even talk to you is astonishing even to myself these days.
Well, Minecraft kind of became an event. They did it right, that whole chicken jockey thing. People were going
love that
to throw popcorn and show videos, so people saw it multiple times. It kind of became a meme. And that's, the movie's not good. I mean, I tried to watch it. It was not good. But it wasn't made for someone my age. I never played the game. My friend's kid played it. I watched him play once. I thought, well, you're young and you're building things. It's kind of cool, but it's not for me. Mm-hmm. And the movie itself, I mean, I just didn't get it and everything. But, it touched a nerve and everybody liked that. And they liked to go chicken jockey, and they threw everything in there and had fun. And, that's what they got to do. They got to, and you may call that pandering or catering. That's exactly what you got to do. You got to cater to your audience. And if you do a Lara Croft movie, you got to have a sexy woman in the role who's good looking, who's smart, strong, capable, and you want to look at her. I mean, that's just the way it is. And, they're not going to do it. And she's not going to have a love interest, and they're going to tippy-toe around her stealing artifacts because colonialism or something. And, oppression, who knows? So, it's just not the character anymore. So no one's going to want to see it, and I guess if you think it's problematic that she's stealing from artifacts from, ancient civilizations and putting them in museums and that's wrong. Okay, that's fine. But that's not the character. Then why make the movie? Because no one's going to want to watch it. That's not the character people like. It's like Captain America with Sam Wilson as Captain America. I like Anthony Mackie as an actor. He seems like a good guy, and I like him. I like Falcon. Was one of my favorite characters growing up. I used to read the Captain America and Falcon comic book when it was a team up. I always liked him in the Avengers. But Captain America is not a guy with wings. He's not a guy with armor. He doesn't have a retractable helmet. He can't shoot rockets. He doesn't have drones. He can't create sonic booms. He doesn't have vibranium wings. That's not Captain America. Captain America is a enhanced dude who's peak human physical ability with a shield. And he goes up against godlike beings because he's brave and he's strong. Now, Sam Wilson is the same way. He's brave, strong, and he'd do that. But his whole thing is, well, he's got this metal suit. He's got an armor suit. He's got this. He's got communications. He's got, his drones. He's got weapons. He's got offensive weapons. And now he's got the shield. That's not Captain America. That's Falcon with Cap Shield. And that's why it's not going to work. They would have been better off just putting him as a man, giving him the serum and have him have the shield and no wings and anything else, because that would be more like Captain America. But they wanted to do this because they wanted a Captain America, and it bombed. And if they do another one, it's going to bomb because that's not.
And Warner Brothers, like minus the movies that did very well for them, they had a streak of movies that flopped really badly. Like a new movie coming up for them called The Bride, which is supposed to be a movie based off Frankenstein's Bride. Yeah, and the marketing for it, holy cringiest marketing ever. Literally says, you are about to witness the legacy of the motherfucking bride. Yeah, how is that going to get me to watch a movie? That sounds cringe. Like, all right. Warner Brothers Discovery eyes renewed discussions with Paramount Skydance after latest bid. Studio has signed sale agreement with Netflix, but Warner Brothers Discovery board feels the urgency from shareholders to engage after a significant change in Paramount's latest offer. I don't know what could be that much different, though. If Netflix is offering all cash and they're offering like equity in stock, I'm pretty sure you take the all cash offer, though. Like that just seems like the much more better deal. All cash, 80, because one of us is almost $100 billion in debt. If Netflix says you can have it all cash, that means you just get a whole clean slate.
Yeah, I don't pretend to understand the financials of that because I know there's stock buying and you can get more money later. And I heard a rumor that if the bigwigs at WB get bigger payouts if they sell to Netflix,
it's your board of directors,
they get a bigger bonus. I don't know if that's true or not. I tried
before with the AT&T one. Remember? That's why they released the Joss Whedon Justice League movie.
Oh yeah,
they released it because of the merger coming up, so they could get their bonuses upon the merger. So that wouldn't surprise me either if that ever happened.
Yeah, but I think they're going to have to clear out some debt, and I don't know. Mergers are a strange thing. I worked for a newspaper that got bought a few times, and you got to clean out debt. They lay people off before the sale, and they cut, and then the thing is you cut, and I know banks do this too because I have friends that work in the banking industry. You lay people off, you cut, then they buy you, and you're kind of more bare bones. Then they bring you in, look at what you have, and then they see any redundancies. So if you're a bank and you have like a regional manager for one bank, and then one that got bought out had a regional manager, you just give the first regional manager all the other banks to look at, and you fire the one person so you can save money. So you got to see what they do to cut. I mean, maybe that's when they get rid of a James Gunn, in a big contract. They say, all right, see ya, and cut out some of this stuff. But they deal in billions of dollars. It's so hard to understand it all,
Yeah. The Warner Brothers Discovery board is leaning toward re-engaging with Paramount Skydance on the revised terms of Paramount's offer to acquire the entire company, which inked an $83 billion sale agreement with Netflix in December. Come on, guys. Netflix posted about this on their website and on Twitter. This was seriously going to happen. So all they had to do was just pass Congress. You get a pass from them. They're like, you can do it if you want to. Go ahead. And it'd be a done deal. But now apparently, but wait, there's more. Paramount Skydance's latest offer on November 9th since last year includes a premium ticking fee for WBD. Shareholders of about $650 million for every quarter that the Paramount WB deal. Ticking fee for WBD. Shareholders of about $650 million for every quarter that the Paramount WBD nuptials are not completed by December 31st, 2026. Paramount Skydance released its latest pitch to WBD and to investors on February 10th. Word of the WBD's board inclinations was first reported Sunday by Bloomberg News. The WBD board has been quick to issue a statement rejecting Paramount's most recent overtures, calling them insufficient enough to derail the existing agreement with Netflix. But the sales process around the famed studio and HBO has drawn intense scrutiny from investors, media observers, and corporate governance watchdogs. The WBD sale is virtually guaranteed to spark shareholder lawsuits, as in the case for most major transactions. If the WBD board goes back one more time with Paramount Skydance, it bolsters the case that the panel did their fiduciary duty to investigate all legitimate offers. Good Lord. How is this a thing? How can I want to do something with you, you agree with it, and then I go, you know what? But this other girl, hey, she has a Lambo, though.
Well, until you put a ring on it, they didn't sign the dotted line, so I guess they have time. And
always get a what's the big thing in marriage you're supposed to get before you get married? Prenup. Yeah, always get a prenup, guys.
But I think some of it too, if they already have an agreement, there might be a buyout clause where if they don't do a deal with Netflix, they got to pay Netflix some money. I was reading something earlier when I found out the subject that there might be a fee that Paramount would have to pay to Netflix because they're having WBD back out of the deal. There'd be a fee that they got to pay. So I don't know how that's set up. That the legality of it's difficult for me because I don't dive deep into it. But it's whatever is going to happen, it's going to be billions of dollars all over the place. And Paramount is going to be more in debt. So and then probably Netflix end up buying Paramount.
What if that was the big ploy? Paramount gets.
Then Apple buys Peacock or NBC Universal, whatever they're calling it now. And
oh, God.
Disney buys them all, and it's all Disney, and we all got to watch
definitely not
live action remakes of Batman Beyond.
Good Lord.
Starring, knowing how they cast it, it'll probably be like, I don't know, somebody stupid taking over the role. They'll probably cast some 90-pound woman to be the new Batman Beyond
hey,
character.
Man, in a Spider-Man comic, they had a paraplegic girl be Spider-Man. Anything's possible. Anything's possible, guys.
They had a pregnant woman in Spider-Verse. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, what are you doing here? Okay, we don't need pregnant women. That's the thing about the Fantastic Four movie. Why are you sending your nearly giving birth wife into trillions of miles into space? I didn't really think that was the best idea either. But
WBD is expected to address the Paramount Skydance offer and set the date for its Q4 2025 earnings report early this week after Monday's President's Day holiday. Investors are also awaiting the day of WBD's planned special shareholders vote to approve the Netflix transaction. It's unclear if Paramount's revised offer will change WBD's vote timetable. Netflix, as per the agreement that it reached in December, has the right to match any superior offer that comes in before it formally completes the acquisition. So essentially, this is Paramount's last chance. If this doesn't go through, then it's so weird how they're aggressively wanting Warner Brothers. Paramount's been doing good things on their own. I don't understand why you want it though. You've been doing good things on your own. You don't need to add in Warner Brothers to your library unless they're thinking, hey, if we buy this, we see such potential with the brand that it'll make our brand exponentially better. It would only have to be in that kind of business lingo. It makes no sense for them to buy Warner Brothers financially, given that they're billions of dollars in debt too, actually.
Well, the hope is you get all their Max subscribers to come over.
Yeah.
And then you also, like I said, they have some lucrative properties. I mean, you're going to end up with Batman and Superman and Harry Potter. I mean, I know Harry Potter is distribution rights, and they have some of the, I believe they have some of the Lord of the Rings available to them too, because I know the Rings of Power, that's done by what, Apple, I believe.
Rings of Power is at Prime, Amazon.
Prime, excuse me, Prime. They only have rights to certain things. That's why they can't use all the characters, and they had to have instead of hobbits, they'd have Harfoots. So, so it's just, they got so you end up with these rights and they can probably make a lot of money. But the problem is they're billions in debt, but they'll probably get, their stock will go up when they do the sale. They'll get an influx of cash, and hopefully they hire somebody who can make some good decisions because, they're
Lord knows they've been short on that for good
well,
knows how long.
Yellowstone, what I was trying to think of earlier, that was their big success. And that Sheridan guy who did it all, I think he's gone now because they didn't, want him around. He did like a couple of spinoffs of Yellowstone. They're all popular. He did Landman. I guess Landman's really good. I haven't watched it. I only watched the one spinoff of Yellowstone, but I know a lot of people like that show and it's done really well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. They got to find people who can make shows. And the problem too with these things, and maybe this is what they want, but it took 10 years to get Stranger Things out. And I know the pandemic and stuff happened, but when a good show happens and they only put out 10, 12 episodes, it takes 2 years to get the next ones out.
Yeah.
And it's
Making
so
shows,
bad.
making TV shows now is because like after I binged Invincible all in one day, and then the next season came out, I think almost 3-4 years later. And that had a lot. And then when that season came out, because they were airing episodes weekly, there were like 4 episodes in, gap for 6 months. It happened for Superman and Lois too. Like Superman and Lois had really bad pacing problems. If you watched it when the episodes were dropping, it's a really good show. So the pacing problems just annoyed me as far as like you'd watch like 3 episodes straight, then it would come back like 6 months later. It's like fucking hell. Like god damn, 6 months.
That's one thing about network TV. They were kicking out 24 episode seasons and they were doing them weekly and that was great. But now, I mean, some of it they might be doing, I don't know, on purpose, but you think about it, if you got, a season of a really good show and then 18 to 2 years later they come out with season 2, everyone's going to go back and rewatch season 1 because they're not going to remember it. So you get more views. Then they watch season 2, maybe 9 months later, season 3, the first half of season 3 comes out, then I got to go back and rewatch season 1 and 2 to catch up. I don't know. It's just the whole system is just so crazy. And then Netflix, I know so many people complain because they watch it for 2 seasons and it gets canceled. I ask people on, I'll go on a Facebook group, hey, anything good? Should I watch this? Well, it was good, but they canceled it and there's no real resolution. And it's like, well, I don't want to spend 2 seasons watching a show that doesn't have a good resolution, so I ain't going to watch it. So I don't know. But you're right, though, when you said that earlier, Netflix, man, they come in fast and give them the chop, and they cut things real quick. So that's just their model.
A source close to the situation said the WBD board is likely focused on pushing Paramount Skydance to declare that it has reached the best and final offers stage. That would allow shareholders to make a considered choice, and it would allow WBD to push Netflix to match Paramount Skydance terms if they are deemed better than the existing agreement. The situation is complicated by the fact that Netflix's offer is for Warner Brothers and HBO Max. Paramount Skydance aims to buy the entire Warner Brothers Discovery, including its large collection of cable channels from CNN and TNT to Discovery, HGTV, and Food Network, right? Yeah, so there is a little bit of a difference between them. Netflix only wants a part of Warner Brothers and the streaming service. Paramount wants to buy the whole company. So Netflix only wants key pieces of Warner Brothers. Paramount kind of just wants the whole thing.
Yeah, Netflix doesn't want their TV shows or TV networks.
Yeah, and it makes sense from their point of view. Yeah, it makes perfect sense why they wouldn't want. God for Netflix's only good decision is not wanting CNN. You know what, Netflix? I'll give you that. Because no one wants that. Remember, Warner Brothers tried launching a CNN streaming service, CNN Plus. Remember that failed in a day? Oh, good Lord.
Really bad.
It's crazy, guys. No one likes CNN to watch it for free. Why would I pay to watch CNN? That was stupid. Whoever made that decision, you need to be fired right now.
The problem with these, I call it entertainment news, these like Fox News and CNN and MSNBC, they're so, they got to be more sensational to get the viewers and get that. And, they're just, I don't watch any of it because it drives me insane because it's really sloppy journalism. But CNN did really good during some of the elections. And then after the Biden election, I believe their ratings were tanking really bad, and they had some primetime shows that were getting like 400,000 viewers and things, and people just keep cutting the cable, and you just people aren't watching. Like I cut my cable. I used to have cable TV, and this over the weekend I got rid of it. I just have the internet now, and I picked up this thing called a Tableau, and
Mhm.
it picks up all these channels. And I booted it up, and I got 138 channels, and one of them is CNN. I get CNN over it, and
And you don't even want to watch that for free. You're
yeah,
getting that for free.
yeah. There's like Newsmax and some other things, but there's people are just cutting the cable, and these networks are hurting, and that's why Netflix doesn't care about this stuff. And
Mhm.
Paramount, I don't know what they're going to do, but Netflix would probably take that and say, you got to sell off
Paramount
TNT
had
and CBS.
Showtime. Remember, because
Yeah.
Paramount, I'm pretty sure, still has CBS and
Yep.
Showtime. Because remember, the CW was a joint venture between them. Paramount makes sense why they would want the TV stuff because they probably feel like they can do something with it. Makes absolute perfect sense why Netflix wouldn't want, God forbid, guys, checks notes, CNN. No one wants that. No one will want that for free.
Now, I think HGTV and the Food Network might be profitable because the shows
Mhm.
they have on there aren't very expensive to make.
Yeah.
That reality TV, that's one of the reasons they had that big boom in the 2000s because it's all, Survivor's got like 50 different incarnations because it's cheap. They're going to real nice locales, but you fly there, you put people up, and you pay them to be on the show, and then you give $1 million to the winner. Well, yeah, that's kind of cheap considering you do a show like Friends. Each cast member was getting $1 million an episode. So that's $6 million an episode just for the main cast. And you got to pay everybody else. So, that kind of stuff's cheap. So maybe, that's, Paramount figures, well, they can keep those, make a few bucks. But they got to figure out TNT and TBS because they provide a lot of entertainment, but I don't know how profitable they are anymore. I don't know. I mean, they do get basketball and some other things, and they have live sports, but live sports are true is one of the things that are still drawing in advertisers for TV. That's why when AEW, the wrestling company, got a pretty good deal with TBS and TNT, it wasn't as good as WWF or WWE, but it was pretty good for a new federation or a new wrestling promotion because it's live and it draws in people and you get better ad rates when you have something live. So
The WBD Netflix transaction is expected to face a tough regulatory review in Washington, D.C. process given Netflix's market clout in streaming and the heightened political tension around media in the Trump era. WBD may also face more PR headaches from small but nosy investors who are questioning the Netflix agreement, as was the case with the Ancora Capital last week. So, yeah, after what happened with that press hearing about what Ted Sarandos was saying, doesn't make a lot of sense why a company that successful would also. I guess Netflix is actually pretty successful, barring what we don't like about them. They do have a big amount of success they've been able to accumulate over these many years. Why would you want them though? Keep in mind, because keep in mind, you have to ask them like, "Sir, you're doing this well. What potential?" It would have to be like that meme that everyone uses of potential. Hey, this is a
yeah,
potential company. That
yeah.
it makes no sense for Paramount to get them given their financial situation, and it makes no sense for Netflix to get them given their not financial situation that they don't have.
Well, Netflix, they thing with Netflix's model, they got to constantly keep putting things on their website or on their streaming service. They got to constantly because people, even though if you started watching everything on there that they have now, you'd never be able to watch it all in your lifetime or 10 lifetimes. But they have to keep bringing up new stuff. That's why if you go on Netflix, you'll see Netflix original. They didn't make it; they just bought it. Somebody made this movie and they bought it off them. And you see they'll have a lot of Korean stuff and things like that, and not just Netflix but other streaming services. Because all they do is someone makes the movie and they say, "Okay, we'll buy the rights to stream it." It saves them money, and if it does well and brings in people, good. If it doesn't, then when the rights are up, you just send it back. And then I don't know if you noticed this, but like
Mhm.
Warner Brothers, they'll license out like Superman and he'll go on TV and stuff, and they might have to take it off the Warner Brothers on HBO Max for a while. They had some shows on some of the animated stuff on HBO Max was taken off because they were leasing it out or, the rights to air it on other channels to make money. So it's like it's almost like a big shell game. Everyone's moving everything around, and you get trying to make money. But with this model, Netflix has to constantly bring up new stuff, or people
Yeah.
are just going to get bored. So they're going to get if they get WB stuff, they can do it, and then well, they're doing that new Harry Potter TV show. So I'm sure they're going to hope that would bring in people. That's probably going to be a 5 or 10 year thing, but they're supposed to be like 5 years of shows. But then they cast John Lithgow is Dumbledore, and he's like almost 90 or something. He's like 85. I don't know. So I didn't get that one, but that has potential, and they got some other things like it.
I guess the only other thing to bring up is the streaming stuff. Like, okay, so if Netflix or Paramount were to get them, either company, barring the pros and cons both have, what happens to HBO Max then? Do they just let it exist, or do what Disney eventually did with Hulu, where they just eventually dissolve Hulu and just make it a part of Disney Plus you could just access on their streaming service? That would probably be what they do eventually. Like HBO
Yeah, I
Max
think
wouldn't go
Netflix
away in a
would do that.
day,
No,
that'd be too much.
I think Netflix it would just be a section.
Mhm.
If you look at I have HBO Max now, and if you look at that, you go on there and they have like the DC tab, and they have their like HGTV tab and different things. So they'll probably just make it a category because I believe now, if you go on Disney Plus, they have a Hulu tab, so
Mhm.
it's just a section. So, and I think that's what's going to happen is if Netflix gets it. Actually, Netflix might just dump it all. They won't even do a tab. They just dump it because I haven't had Netflix in about 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, I
And,
canceled all those I mean, the only streaming service I have, because I have Amazon Prime, is Prime Video. And I only have Prime Video just because I want to get free shipping on Amazon stuff. And it does offer live sports too, so that is actually a plus, honestly. Whenever they do have the games on
yeah,
there,
they
they
got
do
the
have the
Thursday night
NBA, and
game. Yeah.
yeah, they have the NBA and NFL games there. So I'm like, you know what? Every once in a while I can watch a game here. But my thing, guys, is whatever Paramount's going to offer, Netflix is probably going to offer something better. But Netflix, they only want like a part of what the company's even to offer. So if Warner Brothers sells to Netflix, and Netflix only wants Warner Brothers, and like they want what, the streaming service, their cable networks able to finance all this stuff on their own.
Well, they're gonna have to. They'll sell it off.
They'll just sell all that assets off. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have to, and
Who's
somebody will buy
willingly
them.
going to buy CNN? Who? I.
You know, I thought it was funny. Someone suggested this on Twitter a while ago, or on X. They said they tweeted at Elon Musk and said you should buy CNN, and he just wrote. I think he wrote back. He said interesting or something like that. So maybe they buy that. But I think what they would do is package all their TV channels together and say, okay, we need a, and they some company would probably form. You might get some investment company to get some people together and buy it up. Maybe Disney would buy them. I don't know. Maybe they got some channels, but maybe Amazon. I don't think Amazon would get into network TV.
Oh
But
no.
they would probably get some kind of financing together, some hedge fund people, and create a company and come in and buy the stuff. And then before they buy it, then they every one of these channels would just lay a ton of people off, cut costs. I mean, that's why TNT and TBS stopped making originals. They used to make original TV shows and movies, and they stopped doing that. Now, if you go on TNT on the weekend, it's all Marvel movies. If you watch it,
Yeah.
it's all, so they just get the TV rights to that, and they just show that over and over and over again. So, I mean, that's something they got to think of, and Paramount would probably run those. But
Even then, like, ratings on TV stuff has been plummeting year in and
yeah,
year out. I couldn't imagine what the ratings are now for TVs. Guys, TV show ratings were going down for a lot of the stuff even when we were watching, still in its prime. Like, it was still considered
yeah.
in its prime when we were still watching. I imagine it's nothing there. Like, I imagine Jerry Springer reruns get more fucking views than half this new stuff that comes out, which is sad and funny
Well,
because that show was so hilarious and entertaining, honestly.
well, do you ever hear, Judge Judy?
Yeah, I do. I used to like that show, actually.
Well, she was making $40 million a year to do her
Hmm.
show, and and the reason she is because that was syndicated. It sold to a million channels, or whatever, so many
Yeah,
syndicated locals, and people were putting it on it from 4 to 5 or 2 to 3,
yeah.
and they were just cheap to put on, and the advertising revenue was really good because people watched it. I mean, they got good ratings, and the people who watched it were people who were older, so you'd see a lot of medical ads. Like, oh, I need a hip replacement, or I need my Viagra, or whatever it is, or Cialis. So that kind of stuff was on there, and so that was a very profitable show, and you make it made a lot of money, but um, that's what I lost my train of thought, but that's how these things need to make money, and I think syndicated shows and YouTube is pretty smart because YouTube basically everything on YouTube is syndicated. Your
Yeah.
show, what they put ads on is making them money. Now, if only 4 people watch your show, but an ad rolls, they get a few bucks sent their way or whatever from that company. And that's kind of letting the producers do it. And that's what syndication was all about. You're letting someone else do it. That's what Netflix is big with their movies. A lot of their stuff, they say Netflix originals, that somebody else did it. And Netflix also has their own studios, but that's just, but again,
like even Tubi made their streaming service just based off of pretty much
ads.
Network television is with ads. That's essentially their streaming service is network television model with ads. And they have their own Tubi originals. But...
Yep. And the Tubi originals they buy. In fact, I just watched a couple Tubi originals recently.
No, we lost Joe. We lost them to the Tubi originals.
Oh, I love, they have a lot of independent movies and stuff, and I like them. They got some cheesy sci-fi on there. But they do if you have an independent movie, I don't know all the ins and outs, but basically you just put it on Tubi and you might not make much money. They may give you a little bit of money up front to have it, but you make money based on how many people watch it. So it's like YouTube, you put your MSK show on here. If you have 1 million people watch it and you get $100,000 in revenue on it, well, Netflix is going to, or YouTube's going to take their cut and they're going to give you the rest, but you're doing all the work and you're doing all the thing, and they're just providing the bandwidth and the site, and then they're also providing a potential audience. So that's what Tubi does, and it makes sense. And I think TV stations now, they're running into trouble because they got to pay a lot of money to do these shows. If people aren't watching them, you're like,
a main reason why a lot of these shows ended up getting canceled between both HBO Max and Netflix and Paramount, or even I remember when AMC tried their own streaming service that failed. Guys, the labor costs. You know what really kills companies? Labor costs. Those are a lot of money. Yeah. So we're gonna have to see how this all plays out. But me and my final thoughts about this is, I don't think it changes much. I do believe, given the offer on the table, Paramount would be better technically because they want the whole thing. But it's one of those, like, I don't know if they're going to also make it. They don't make a good decision with Star Trek, is what you said. I don't even fucking know.
Terrible. Yeah, I think overall my thought on it is I prefer Paramount to get it because maybe they can snap it in, turn things around.
You have a hope. Yeah.
But I think they'll show more movies in the theater because I think Netflix right now, we'll do the 40. They were saying in that hearing, we'll do the 40-day window and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's going to last. And I want theaters to stick around. I love going to the movies. It's fun.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I enjoy it a lot.
It's a nice experience, and I can shut my phone off and I can pay attention. I watch a movie at home. I'm so tempted to go, what's going on in my phone? Oh, yeah, okay. So I got to, it's when you're at the theater, I always shut my phone off and I'll pay attention to it.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm laser focused in when I see the theater.
Like I said earlier, I'd prefer Warner just to be a profitable company and make good movies on their own.
Because I know people have mentioned this before. Guys, Netflix is going to say anything right now. Like, literally, how many times has a company or had a spokesperson of the company say one thing, and then 2 or 3 years later down the road, you get this big story of something massively changing? It's like, yeah, of course, right now, they want you to believe they're going to commit to the theatrical experience. They want you to believe them. Come after 2030, who knows if they're going to honor any of that? Or they go, you know what? It's not show friends, it's show business. That's what they're going to eventually say.
And it'll change. But now on the bright side, if Netflix has it and they want to make money and they decide to make, a Batman animated show and a Batman TV show every year,
they do have the money.
We get more Batman. So I don't know if it's good.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers did come out with Penguin, which was outstanding. And then they had the Batman, which was good. But James Gunn, I think, is mad because people like that more than the Superman movie. But, and they're not going to go. They're going to do Batman 2, but after that, that's going to be over. And I wish they would do more seasons of the Penguin. That was an outstanding show. So,
well, yeah, guys, we'll see how this all plays out. So thank you guys for coming by and checking out this
Thank
video.
you.
If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you've not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. I'm MSK, aka Master Swag King, and we're going to sign up, guys. See you guys later. Goodbye. Peace.
Take care.
And we're going to, it's fucking hell. I got to get this DMV application done because I got to do an application on the DMV for a replacement ID. So I got my W-2 now. So I got to go to the DMV either tomorrow or Wednesday. I'll probably go. I might just go I might just go Wednesday. Good Lord. But all right, I want to ask you, do you have anything planned coming up you would like to let the audience know about?
Not really. Still working on my channel. I just do want to say last week I watched the show over just to see how I looked and everything, and I realized that I was too fleshed out, and I hate the way I look, but and I hate the way I sound. But a couple of people left some nice comments about the books I had, and they said they enjoyed the show. And unfortunately, I wasn't reading the comments because I explained earlier that I used my laptop as my camera. And I had it pushed back because I got this giant head and I couldn't see the comments. This week I'm closer so I could read the comments. I just want to say thank you for everybody that left a nice comment and the people that do view. It was really nice to get some of that feedback. And I hope you guys have a great week.
Yeah. I saw the post. A lot of people were like, man, who's that guy? He looks pretty cool. I'm like, okay, thank you, I guess. All right, I guess I don't really do this because I look the best, but that should kind of just go without saying. But I do this stuff for the love of the game, guys. It
is a lot of fun. I enjoy doing these. I hope we can continue because it is great to get out and talk about these kind of things.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of even beside money. That's some reason why I still do it. Like I would talk about these things with people anyway, and I would even think about these things in my head, and I'm like, if I didn't have an outlet to just voice my thoughts, I would go insane, guys. I have a lot of thoughts.
My problem is all my friends, like, I don't hang out with my comic book friends anymore, and they all got out of it or they don't care anymore. I don't really have a lot of people to talk about this kind of stuff with because most everybody my age is like, whatever. They'll talk sports and they'll talk movies, but they're not into all this stuff like, kind of you are or me. And so it's kind of nice to get out and talk to other people.
Yeah, for me, I try to always be someone where, I like a lot. I want to like a lot of stuff. And even if I'm not like a super fan of everything, I want to like enough stuff to the point where like someone doesn't and can't talk about this. I want to be able to be knowledgeable about this to go with it. So like there are some people that I've had on where they don't even really care for superhero movies or Star Wars and stuff. They like horror. I'm like, dude, I love horror movies. We can talk about horror movies for a while if we can. I try to always be that way. Unless it's something that I just genuinely just can't care for. Like I can't bring myself to care for something where it just doesn't interest me. Yeah. Like Harry Potter. It just doesn't interest me in any single slight for me to care about it at all. If people like it or whatever, it's fine by me. But it's like, oh, Harry Potter. Oh, not gay. I'm gone.
I saw the movies, but I saw them once and it was like, okay, not. People talk about it and they're like, well, this guy did this and this spell does that. And I'm like, whatever. I don't know. It's like,
yeah, like, if you have to watch a guy wave his wand around for magic, I don't even know what would get you off. But yeah, the other thing I will say, we have Scream 7 coming up. I will be watching that. We are going to review that because I love the Scream movies, actually. So you guys know. So that's going to be not this week, but the next week coming up. And the only big movie coming is Crime 101, which is
that just came out.
Yeah, it has like Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo. Like, oh my god,
it bombed. I heard it didn't do that well.
Oh, so I saw the trailer for it because I saw it when I was watching a Laker game, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna bomb. And the reason why I thought that it was because it just looks so confusing. Like, it has a very simple premise, but the trailer is so confusing. You go, what? I knew what was happening. It was like. It's another reason why people don't watch movies anymore. Trailers are so confusing. Don't even know what the hell you're supposed to focus on. Trailers either are too long and give out the entire movie, or they're so confusing you don't even know what you thought about when you watched it because it could be misleading. It could be not misleading. It's just like, oh my god.
Oh, sorry.
Are you good? I'm trying to see.
I was just going to say the other movie coming up that I really want to see is Project Hail Mary. That's coming out in March. That's I don't know if you heard about that one.
Oh, I have. That's with Ryan Gosling, I think.
Yeah, he goes into space. It's based off a book by Andy Weir, I think his name is. He wrote The Martian.
Did you like the book?
The movie. I didn't read it.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. If someone told me it was great, it was at the library because I don't buy books because I don't want to. Well, I don't. I just trying to declutter, and I don't want to spend the money. And I saw the book at the library, but I had another book, and I said, "Well, I'm going to read this one first." And then when everyone got hyped on Hail Mary, it wasn't at the library anymore. And every time I go to check it out, it's gone. And I didn't put it on the list. You can actually put a list, but I didn't do that. But I'm just going to watch the movie, and if I like it, I'll probably go back and read the book.
Project Hail Mary. Yeah. The it said it got good reviews. It said it won Hugo Award for Best Novel.
Yeah, The Martian. The guy he wrote the book, The Martian, and they did the Brad Pitt movie on that.
Oh, this is the premise. It centers on school teacher and former biologist Ryland Grace, who wakes up aboard a spacecraft afflicted with amnesia. What? I guess. All right.
There's something I was going to tell you about, and I'm looking up. I know this is terrible video. Me looking this up right now.
What in the world?
You like horror, right?
I do. Yeah.
There's a movie on Tubi. It's an independent movie. It's called The Cleansing Hour, and I just watched it. And it's about these guys who do fake seance, or not seances, exorcisms. And the one guy plays a priest, and they do all these fake ones, and all of a sudden they have to do a real one because the demon shows up and possesses somebody. And I watched it, and I don't know what the budget on this, but the effects were really good. The acting was really good. It was written really well. I really enjoyed it. It's only about an hour and 35 minutes, hour and a half. I actually did a ChatGPT search after I watched that the movie Alan Ing suggested First Time Caller, and I asked something independent in that same vein, and they recommended that. And I found it on Tubi, and it was really good. And it's a kind of scary. They got jump scares, and there's things going on with it, but the effects in it are really good. There's a couple of there's a lot of practical effects too, which I like, and then there's some CGI stuff too. So I think it's done really well. I want to look that up and see what the budget is. Someday I'll go and look it up. But if you want to see something pretty good, I enjoy that.
I think one of these weeks I'm gonna have us review, because in mind is when we do like movie reviews for movies like Scream 7, like when we actually do go and watch movies at the theater. I do want to just randomly sprinkle in movies that I didn't get a chance to see when they came out. I do want to watch this movie called Heart Eyes. I heard a sequel's coming out for it. This is a horror movie. It came out last year. In February, like before Valentine's Day. I probably want us to have us watch this, but people are gonna be like, "How would you watch movies without streaming services?" You find them. How else would I see them? I would just find them on the high seas.
Yeah, I don't really like doing that too much, but just because as a writer and stuff, I don't like people pirating, but that's other people's business, so I don't get into that. But I mean, I would find it and watch it. I'd figure out how to watch that.
All right, but that's pretty much it. I gotta go get this other thing done. Yep. But just want to say, yeah, it's great having Joe here. But we will also next week we're gonna do a good point, bad point for MCU post Endgame, which is crazy because Phase 3 actually ends with Far From Home, which is so crazy. People forget that. People just think,
yeah. I don't even understand the phases. I don't even care.
Yeah, so Far From Home is actually the end of Phase 3. But people think Endgame is just that's it. Anything after that, they don't even fucking know this is part of Phase 3. They're like, I'm done.
I'm pre-Endgame, post-Endgame. It's like COVID. This happened before the pandemic. This happened after the pandemic.
So thank you guys for checking out this episode